Elizabeth Warren made some news because she kept it real about what the DNC did to Bernie. Let's watch.
I want to ask you one other question, Senator. We learned today from former Democratic National Committee Chairwoman Donna Brazile that the Clinton campaign, in her view, did rig the presidential nominating process by entering into an agreement to control day-to-day operations at the DNC. The Clinton campaign controlling the party's staffing, strategy, finances, communications, and that agreement was entered into in August 2015, a year before she defeated Senator Bernie Sanders. This must shock you.
Look, this is a real problem. But what we've got to do as Democrats now is we've got to hold this party accountable. When Tom Perez was first elected chair of the DNC, the very first conversation I had with him is to say, you have got to put together a Democratic Party in which everybody can have confidence that the party is working for Democrats rather than Democrats are working for the party. And he's being tested now. This is a test for Tom Perez. And either he's going to succeed by bringing Bernie Sanders and Bernie Sanders representatives into this process, and they're going to say it's fair, it works, we all believe it, or he's going to fail. And I very much hope he succeeds. I hope for Democrats everywhere. I hope for Bernie and for all of Bernie's supporters that he's going to succeed.
Very quickly, Senator, do you agree with the notion that it was rigged?
Yes.
All right.
I like that. Jake Tapper's funny. I don't want to, put thoughts in his mind, but it felt like he was putting that out there almost as like a gotcha to Elizabeth Warren. Like, well, here, how about I ask it point blank like this? Do you think it was rigged? And like in Washington, that's like ooh, with all this overwhelming evidence, you're still put in a position where you have to say no, right? Say no, say it's not rigged. And she's like, yeah. Donna Brazile came out and said it. She was the interim head of the DNC. She's like, I found the fucking financial agreement that says the DNC is going to launder the money for Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton gets... You couldn't do a press release of the DNC without running it by Hillary Clinton first. She was in control of who was hired and fired. She was 100% in control of strategy. It wasn't even that there was collusion. It was that the DNC was the Clinton campaign. It was one and the same. The DNC and the Clinton campaign were the same fucking thing. So, So Elizabeth Warren's 100% correct. And look, I have to say, man, and I admitted this yesterday when we did the segment, it was worse than even I thought. There was a time, and maybe some of you will recall it, when even I was like, I hesitated a little bit to use the word rigged, because in my mind I thought, well, I don't think it's really fair to say that. I think it's fair to say Debbie Wasserman Schultz agrees with and is on the side of Hillary Clinton, so they're just heavily biasing things in favor of Hillary Clinton. And that's, people would point out to me, hey man, it's rigged. And I'd say, that's a little too strong of a word. I would say it was massively biased in his favor, in Hillary Clinton's favor. And I think there's a distinction to be had there about very biased versus rigged. But no, after the Donna Brazile story, I'm now 100% on the side of I was wrong. I was tap dancing around it and tiptoeing around it and saying, oh no, it's not, it's biased. No, it's not biased. It was fucking rigged. It was rigged from the beginning. It was rigged from the beginning. It was rigged from the beginning. It was rigged from the fucking beginning. It was rigged from the beginning. It was rigged from the beginning. They did everything in their fucking power. Outside of the only thing we have no evidence for is literally going into voting machines and flipping votes. But outside of that, they did everything they could, absolutely everything they could, to make sure that Bernie Sanders was not even in the conversation. And despite all of the flat-out rigging that went on, he still managed to get 47% of the vote in the primary, still managed to win 22 states. So they were trying to fucking keep a lid on this political revolution and this, populist left uprising. And they could barely do it even when they rigged the process. So, I'm happy to see Elizabeth Warren is finally keeping it real about this stuff. People are mad at Elizabeth Warren. I think rightly so, because she refused to endorse Bernie Sanders during the primary. She did stay quiet, though, until it was pretty much over, and then she was like, okay, now I'm endorsing Hillary Clinton. So I think in her mind, that was a political calculation that she made, and she thought Hillary Clinton was going to win no matter what early on, so she just kind of let everything play out. I disagree. I think she should have endorsed Bernie Sanders, particularly because Bernie Sanders represents her values more than Hillary Clinton does, obviously. But she didn't do that, and she's taken her lumps for that, rightfully so. And I think she's getting it more now. I do. I think that she looks at what's happening. And Ro Khanna talks about this. He says when he's in Washington, he feels like he's in a parallel universe where virtually everybody around him doesn't get it. They don't get where the momentum is. They don't get that corporate Democrats are absolutely loathed. They're in the, oh my God, Trump, Russia, collusion, yada, yada, yada. They're so caught on that they have clueless about the flaws in their own party and how pissed off the base is. And there are a handful of people who get it. Obviously, Ro Khanna is one of them. And Elizabeth Warren now is starting to get it. And, I mean, think about it. The same people who just screamed for months about, election integrity. Russia meddled in, influenced our election. Let's talk about this 24/7 for months on end. The same people that did that, all of a sudden, now when it's a fact that the DNC rigged the election, so it wasn't just meddling in, influencing. No, they fucking rigged it. Now all of a sudden, get over it. Unite. Damn it. What's wrong with you? So it's a bigger problem when Russia meddles in the election, influences the election, versus the actual rigging of the fucking primary, rigging of the election. Rigging is a stronger word and a worse thing than meddling in, isn't it? But no, when the rigging is on the side of the corporate Democrats, so many in the media go to sleep, so many in the establishment go to sleep, because they don't care, because they wanted Hillary to win from the beginning. So they'll look the other way for the real fuckery and the real election meddling and influencing and fucking rigging. And there's few people who are keeping it real and calling a spade. And here's Elizabeth Warren doing that. But I don't think, here's the part that I don't know if any of them get. No, it's not, Elizabeth, it's not a matter of, hey, they need to now let Bernie people into the conversation and Tom Perez needs to give them equal treatment and yada, yada, yada. No, you don't get, this is the part that you're missing. It's not about people like Tom Perez and the neoliberal corporatists now letting us into the Democratic Party. No, it's a matter of us taking over the Democratic Party. There will be no unity with neoliberal corporatist cheaters. Cheaters. People who rigged it. There will be no unity with the scumbags who lost the election because their strategy was 100% wrong and they were 100% corrupt. There will be no kumbaya moment with the Hillary supporters and the Bernie supporters holding hands and kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. No. Either you get on board with Medicare for all and free college and a living wage and ending the wars and legalizing marijuana and saying unequivocally the primary was rigged and Hillary Clinton and Debbie Wasserman Schultz stole it from Bernie Sanders. Either you say all those things or you're done. We don't need you. You're out. Because, by the way, I don't know if you know this, only 8% of the Democratic Party, only 8% dislikes Bernie Sanders. He's the most liked politician in the country, beloved by Democrats, independents, and even Republicans like the guy. So it's not a question of, hey, maybe now we will share the party with the person who's the most popular politician and his supporters. Maybe we'll share the party with one of the most disliked politicians and her supporters. No, they were wrong. They need to go away. This isn't a matter of unity with them. They take no part in this unity. The unity is among the actual populist left. The unity, by the way, is more among Democrats and people outside the party on the left, and even if Republicans want Medicare for all and free college, and by the way, many of them do, we would rather unite with them because they're right on the issues than unite with people who endlessly shit on populist left ideas that are overwhelmingly popular around the country. And people who are still brazenly and openly defending a cheater and a rigged primary. There will be no unity with them, Liz. There will be none. So it's not about Tom Perez. Maybe he can let them in. No, Tom Perez needs to step the fuck aside because he's the problem. That entire wing of the party is a paper tiger, and they're done, and they've been exposed for what they are. So that's what I need people to understand also about what we're doing with Justice Democrats. It's about a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party. It's not about unity with the Hillary Clinton people. No. It's about a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party for people who are principled and believing in and fighting for populist left ideas. That's what it's about. So we don't need them. We do not need them. I know we do not need them. The polls show we do not need them. And now when they're at the point that they're even willing to deny the proven rigging of the primary, we've never been in a position more so before where we haven't needed somebody. So go away. And Elizabeth Warren, of course, is 100% correct to say, yeah, it was rigged. That's the part that we now file under, duh.